Hey, what's up guys? My name's Andrew Pecoraro from Pecksmetalpicks, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new album from the New Age called Placebo. Comes out towards the end of February. They were nice enough to send it to me ahead of time, and also nice enough to give me permission to review it live on stream on Twitch, which is what I'm doing right now. It's what the chat box is. This is my Twitch channel. And they gave me permission to use all of the songs and upload a video doing a review, and I'm just gonna sort of show you the process of how I write reviews, what it looks like, you know, going through the whole album, and yeah, just sharing what I think. And so, I mean, before we jump into it, just for all the YouTube subscribers, anybody who comes across this on YouTube, I'm gonna put the link to my Twitch in the comment section below. And if you have a Twitch account, or if you want to make one so that you could be a part of these future streams, feel free to click the link and basically follow me so that you get notifications when I go live. And I've been trying to do like 2 or 3 reviews a week. And yeah, if you want to ever just swing by, share your thoughts in the chat about whatever album we happen to be talking about tonight, it'd be super cool to see you. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump into the review. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the New Age, they've actually been around for a little while. One of their most popular music videos has been on YouTube since 2013, which it's crazy to me that it's 2018 right now. That's 5 years ago. That these guys have had music out there, and it really surprises me that they haven't blown up even more. I was actually showing some of the people in the chat some of their music from the EP before we went live with this video, and everybody was really impressed with it. I'll just tell you, listening to the EP that came out in 2014 from these guys, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this has so much potential. It was so promising. And the new album, also very good. It changes direction a little bit, which like you sort of have to expect after the band's been together for 5 years. And the music scene has changed a lot over that time too. But even compared to today's metalcore standard, that 2014 EP is definitely up there and can easily still hang with, you know, all the material that's coming out today. So I've listened to this EP, or I've listened to this new album like once or twice so far, but I'm basically going to be discovering it with you right now as we listen to it. It's been a while since I listened to it. They sent me this like a week or 2 ago. So it's sort of just like a natural reaction to everything, and this is how I try to write all of my reviews actually. So looks like we have some people in the chat saying hi. Alright, yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into the music. So this album's coming out, well, by the time I post this, it'll be out. So if you like what you hear, definitely check it out. Metal Goes Pop Volume 27. It's groovy. Yeah, it is groovy. They've always had really dynamic instruments, which is one of my favorite things about them. Like, they're not a boring metalcore band that is super predictable. I feel like all of their guitarists are just very talented, and I don't know, it really comes through to me. You know, you have bands like, and not to like shit on any of the big ones, but like Memphis Mayfire, you know, stuff like that, and it's sort of a formula for them. But for these guys, every song is different, and they don't follow a pattern, which sort of, as the listener, keeps you on the edge of your seat. It is kind of true, though. It is kind of true, though. Out loud, you know it is. Like, I mean, especially old Memphis Mayfire, man. I love that stuff. But, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been following the new stuff quite as much. They're never gonna send me. Yeah, I can't imagine Memphis Mayfire's agent being like, yo, Pecksmetalpicks, do a review of this. Yeah, I don't think that was in the cards anyway.
Something, you give it to me, and I'll show you how fast I can tear this place apart. Oh no, here it comes. It's going out again, it doesn't stop till the fire. Now I know how to make it happy, 'cause I'm not happy anymore. Oh no, here it comes. Now I'm trying to look good inside now. Well, let's face this way, so let's continue to cycle right. Oh, why can't you just be quiet? Everything can go your way. I know something's missing. I don't know where it going. And we need to start it. I'm sorry things have been so great, but we have to get through it. You don't always have to get what you like. Slowly to be fine. You will never without sight. Straight to your spine. You don't always have to be on the rise. Tell yourself it's times. Would you ever give up your life? Ignorance and pride. So we can breathe again. So we can breathe.
What do you guys think so far after listening to a little bit of their old material before jumping into this new stuff? It's not quite as heavy, right? It's not like quite as heavy, but it still has those moments, especially in this song.
And can you take me back made the mishap happen. I turned this house into a gun, ready to explode at a given glance. Yeah, I can pull the trigger, but I think we have a second chance. So we can breathe again.
So, I'm actually going to pause it really quick, and I'm going to go back to Temper just for a sec. I have to find where it was. Okay, right here. So, oh my god, where's the pause button? Okay. So, this is something that they did in the EP too. They did a little bit of this. They would slow the instruments down and not like rap, but sort of have like a way more like groovy like flow section where it's not just talking exactly, but it's not the clean singing either. And like, I don't know that much about 21 Pilots. I've only heard a couple of the songs that get played on the radio. It's also been a while since I've heard any of their stuff on the radio, but this section right here reminds me a lot of 21 Pilots for whatever reason, and I don't even know if that's accurate, but to me, it does, what I remember. And they've always done this sound, and I'm really glad that this is one of the things that they've decided to keep.
Made the mishap happen. I turned this house into a gun, ready to explode at a given glance.
Because it sort of gives the listener a break from the more intense stuff, and then it lets them set up for something heavier that's about to come. Or even just the return to the previous softness, with this as sort of like an interlude. Even though this isn't that heavy, it is still a step up from that sort of like rap 21 Pilots section. Okay, I just wanted to go back to that because that's what I'm about to write about. You like the old stuff more so far? Yeah, it's tough to say because it's so different, you know? That was like 4 years ago, so they definitely grew up a little bit. Better than We Came as Romans. I am a SoundCloud virgin. I never listen to stuff on SoundCloud. I thought the pause button was up here. It's very 21 Pilots-y. Okay, I'm glad that I'm not just like out in my own world when it comes to that. anything's better than Memphis Mayfire. I did not mean to start this whole debate about Memphis Mayfire and how good they are or not. Like, you know what? As long as Memphis Mayfire keeps making heavy music, as long as Matty Mullins is still screaming in the songs, I will fully support Memphis Mayfire. Those guys are so huge, and they have such a big possibility to just sell out and go completely soft with the fan base that they have. Like, they would be way bigger if they switched at this point. So, as long as Memphis Mayfire keeps it heavy, I'll be a fan of it. You think the cleans sound like Craig Owens a tiny bit? I'm sure, I mean, they'll be super happy to see that, Micah, because Craig Owens is a pretty huge name to be compared to. You know, at least Memphis Mayfire isn't pulling like a Bring Me the Horizon or Icy Stars or something like that. I remember the first time I listened to this, I actually heard a little bit of Icy Stars in here.
Yeah, I stopped with my sin, the path I've led is self-righteousness is enough to break my spirit over and over. We are monsters, obsessed with selfishness, and try not to wonder too far from the hunger. We are creatures, we give up all we have, just so we don't surrender to the monsters in our heads.
I actually, just not to get sucked in the Memphis Mayfire thing too much, but dude, Matty Mullins, his screams have actually been getting deeper, I think, lately. I feel like some of their newer stuff, he has sections where it's like some of the heaviest stuff they've ever released, and I mean, I'm always a fan of heaviness, so has a really good range. Does he do the screams, or is that another member? Honestly, I actually don't know. I should totally know this about the band that I'm doing the review of, but I don't know if they have one or two vocalists. It looks like they might just have one. Justin Cotton might be the only one doing the vocals. Unless one of these guys helps contribute, it might just be one guy.
And the trust that we thought we had, we broke it in half. And the memories we thought we knew are but a distant reflection of life. You take it once, you might take it twice. Don't forget to kiss your family goodnight. We are monsters, obsessed with selfishness, and try not to wonder too far.
Alright, you're right. Let's get back to the album at hand. I don't even know how the whole Memphis Mayfire thing started. Like the soft-spoken feelsy part? I do too. I'm gonna go back to that, actually. Because that's something that I was gonna point out. Oh, the pause button is up here. Okay, so this is another thing that they did before, and I'm really glad that at least this and the 21 Pilots stuff has continued on in their future music. It's just the way that the vocalist does this part, where you can hear the emotion. It's not like he's about to cry or anything like that, but you can definitely hear the emotion as if it's like almost getting kind of choked up about it. And this is something that they've done the whole time, and it's always been great. But I just wanted to point it out because not too many bands do stuff like this. So any unique thing that you can get as a band, I think you should get credit for.
Memories we thought we knew are but a distant reflection of life. You take it once, you might take it twice. Don't forget to kiss your family goodnight. We are monsters.
You know what? I'm actually starting to consider this more of a post-hardcore album. Is this on Spotify or just SoundCloud exclusively? Because I do really like this song. Right now, I'm guessing it's just on SoundCloud. I haven't checked Spotify. The album for us right now, Micah, is not out. I think it comes out next week. When I post this on YouTube, it will be out. So by then, you could probably find it on Spotify. This is the heaviest 21 Pilots album. You don't know about post-hardcore? What would you say then out loud? Because it's not metalcore. It doesn't have breakdowns exactly, but then again, the EP that they put out didn't have breakdowns either. Not like traditional breakdowns at least, but that one was definitely metalcore. Like, you don't need breakdowns to be metalcore, but I feel like, in my mind, the way I differentiate metalcore and post-hardcore is if you have more than 50% of the songs as clean singing, then you're most likely post-hardcore. If it's like 50-50 or more screams, then you're metalcore. And I know that that's not always true, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb I found. Curious what you would call it.
You say I don't know what's wrong. Can you make it go away? Cause I'm a hazard to my health. And everyone else around me stood the ground. I don't know, it's astounding. This pain I found. Make it go away. Make it go away.
Post-hardcore would imply that there's something hardcore in there somehow, right? I don't know. Like, we could get into this, because I already have a pretty good amount written down. I know it's supposed to maintain the aggression and intensity of hardcore punk, but, like, if you look up post-hardcore bands, okay, well, this is just absolutely wrong. Abandon All Ships, A Day to Remember, Adept, like, alright, those guys, AMD Affliction, Ask Alexandria, none of these are post-hardcore. This is absolutely terrible. I'm kind of kidding, but seriously, a lot of these are really wrong. Like, what's a band that you would consider post-hardcore? Like, old school, A Skylit Drive, maybe? I was hoping I would see some in here and that would give me like a good idea, but just so many of these are so wrong. Like maybe like old school like Emma Rosa or like Alisana. I don't know, what do you think? I did assume their genre. That's even funnier because genre is almost spelled the same as like gender. Was Memphis Mayfire on that list? No. Siege is definitely not, but like I don't know, post-hardcore is just different, isn't it? Like, Hands Like Houses, I feel like is super... Like, I'd be so surprised if their Instagram does not have their genre as post-hardcore. Rock experimental. No, you guys are just post-hardcore. But stuff like that. At the drive-in, Silverstein type stuff, I guess. Yeah, Silverstein still has some screams, but... I always thought Secrets was post-hardcore. Some of their songs probably could be considered, but I think generally they would be metalcore, just because they have breakdowns, they have a lot of screams. I don't know, I don't even like to get into the genre stuff, just because, you know, nobody ever agrees on it. It's just a bunch of people with their own opinions. And, like, everybody has their own criteria. Like, you heard what mine is. Mine is literally, if it's more than 50% clean singing, then it's post-hardcore to me. And, like, I know they get their names from, like, hardcore punk and, like, whatever. Dude, I could not tell you. I couldn't listen to, like, a post-hardcore band and be like, that's the element of hardcore punk right there. Like, that's the one... That's what makes it post-hardcore, is because that one part is, like, the punk element influencing all of it. Like, I don't know, that's not how I think about music, at least. What happens if there are no vocals? Then I have no idea how to categorize it. It's like a Venn diagram. It's like metalcore and post-hardcore, and then no vocals is like just on a different piece of paper. You call them screamcore? Oh, Andres, dude, you just reminded me of like back in the day of like Bring Me the Horizon, like their early material when everybody called metalcore screamo. Because screamo is like actually a different genre. I think screamo is like maybe like old like Drop Dead Gorgeous and I don't know, screamo is like its entire own thing. In my head, screamo is basically just like really weird old school metalcore that's just like screams for the sake of screams, basically. The genre stuff is definitely silly. Because then you get things like core, emo core, post-core core, all of those cores. I remember back in the day, like, any new band, whatever, like, a defining feature of, it would become that core. Like, Upon a Burning Body became, Mexi core. Like, all of that stuff, it was just, like, whatever defining feature, they would just say like that and then core, and then like Rings of Saturn became Alien core. Oh god, what were some other ones? There used to be some really funny ones. What I normally do, I just put everything under the umbrella of hardcore music, then branch out to metalcore, death metal, and hardcore punk. Yeah, I feel like as few categories as you can get away with, that's how you can be the safest. Because even stuff like death metal and deathcore, like you have bands like Fit for an Autopsy that I feel like go back and forth so often between death metal and deathcore. The word emo actually meant emotive hardcore. It's like a movement within hardcore seemed to be less political and focused on the lyrics. Wow. Do you have, out loud, what would you say some screamo bands were? Because I think Drop Dead Gorgeous is a decent example, but I don't know.
My name's hate, my name's guilt. We come from the same place, born and bred in the same way. Every single second, every day, way 10 steps back to the same place. Yeah, I can make you feel, I can make you feel much better. Yeah, I can make you feel so still. And do you dare say what's in my brains? We'll never know now. We'll never know now. Do you dare say what's in my brains? We'll never know now. We'll never know now. Do we dare say what's in our brains? We'll never know now. We'll never know. When you go to the edge of the earth to suffer, you've been running in circles, living that stereotypical hurtful way. Sick of sick and change, always feel the same. I can make you feel, I can make you feel much better. Yeah, I can make you feel so still with all I said. Do you think you're better off on your
Interesting rap. Yeah, these guys aren't afraid to get into that. This one has, I think, a little bit more of the rap element than the previous one. I'm pretty into it so far. That was probably my favorite song on the album. If you noticed, I stopped paying attention to the chat for just a couple minutes because that song really sucked me in. I think that was actually the softest and the heaviest song, because if you listen to how it begins, this is actually really cool. I haven't noticed this about SoundCloud, but the way that it sort of like tracks the maybe loudness of the music or whatever is going on. But for like the first minute, you have this intro, and seriously, for the first minute, I was like, alright, I'm gonna talk to the chat, because this song is a little boring. You know, like, not a ton of stuff's going on, this isn't really drawing me in. Then all of a sudden, just like what I was writing in my review, it's gonna do like a drop and kick it up like a whole nother notch right here. And then it flows, it has like these ups and then the downs, and then ups, and then downs, and then back up, and then it fades in the end. Okay, so this is pretty good. And then it chills out again. And then it's gonna do the drop. And then it does this rap in the middle, which is pretty cool. And then I want to say right here is like around the time that it gets to some of the heaviest stuff. Okay, I'll get back to the chat in just a second. I just have to write this down while we're on it.
maybe then I won't ever feel this way again. Maybe someone good will finally wanna be my friend. Maybe then I'll see my own reflection.
Is this the same vocalist as from the EP? I think so. I think he sounds super similar. The screams are obviously not nearly as frequent, but just based on the cleans, I think at least if it's the same, if the vocalist is doing the screams and the cleans, then yeah, it has to be the same one. Because I feel like the cleans are exactly the same. Huh, that's interesting out loud. I hate the term post with any genre. Yeah, I know, man. I know. I didn't choose to name them. I think at the end of the stream, because we only have 4 more songs left, I think at the end I'll play one of the songs from their EP, just so anybody on YouTube who's lasted this long, you could get a little taste of the last EP they put out. What word would you like to replace post? I don't know, it's not like the post... Like, what is it supposed to signify? Because... it just means after hardcore, but... I feel like it's so short-sighted to use a word like post in music, because... I don't know, it's sort of like... You'd replace post with pre? Wait, that would be the opposite, though. If it was pre-hardcore... that would be like naming it something before what it's named after existed. Geez, this review is actually turning out to be pretty long. I didn't think I would have this much to say, but there's a lot of stuff that they packed into this album. What is the EP called? Think Too Much, Feel Too Little. That's way too long of a title for me to put in here.
Can't you see the pain that you're causing him? Name calling, shameful, and I know that you don't know it.
This is another favorite.
The pain that you're causing her, worrying about you and your little girl. I know that life can be better. We can save it, we can do it together. I know that sounds corny, fuck it, whatever. I could care less. In my family forever, I love you. Keep going in the same progression. I wanna know how it feels to be outside, how it feels to be alive. I wanna know how it feels to be outside, how it feels to be alive. So what I'm trying to say is, fuck this life.
This might be my favorite song. Okay, I'm gonna go back just a little bit. Okay. From this like very beginning part, it's so upbeat. Like I feel like this is like not the screaming part, but I feel like this part of the song right here is like what they would play in the background in a movie while like some teenagers are like going out to do some like shenanigans over like summer break. It just has such like a carefree, fun feel to it. And then the fact that it like also has some of the heaviest screams back here is great. But like this part especially, it's so upbeat and carefree. And then the screen, or the sort of spoken word stuff, I think, around here. This is the right part. Nah, I must have missed it. Oh, right here. So by now, we've heard this a bunch in the album, but I feel like I still haven't got tired of hearing it. Each time they do this, it's a little bit different than the other times, which definitely keeps it from getting repetitive, which is great because, you know, it'd suck if they did it in half the songs and it just sounded the same every time. But right here, I feel like it's especially dark.
Can't you see the pain that you're causing him? Name calling, shameful, and I know that you don't know it. But can't you see the pain that you're causing her? Worrying about you and your little girl. I know that life can be better. We can save it, we can do it together. I know that sounds corny, fuck it, whatever. I could care less. In my family forever, I love you. Keep going in the same progression. I wanna know how it feels to be outside, how it feels to be alive. I wanna know how it feels to be outside, how it feels to be alive. So what I'm trying to say is, fuck this life. We couldn't hope for better action from these. Burns a hole through his mattress every time he falls asleep. Yeah, every time I fall asleep. Yeah, every time I fall I've never been in a knife fight, but I was raised in the ghetto. I stayed sheltered from the nightlife, but my brother said hello. Can you teach me to be a man? My daddy just doesn't know how to. Sitting alone in a room with the doors barred, hoping that the kids don't see what are now scars. Thanks darkness, you taught him so much, but you couldn't make him heartless. Taught him so much, but you couldn't take away the shame. Living every day the same pain, his brain. Yeah, it's just the way it is. You can take life or conquer it. Even when everything is shit, you can cave in or bury it. Can't leave this us. Can't leave this us. You can take anything from us. You can take everything from us. Can't leave this us. Can't leave this us. You can take anything from us. You can take everything.
Sorry, I was like sort of finalizing the review instead of looking at the chat. My bad, guys. Yeah, Micah, these guys, instrumentally, they do a ton of fun stuff with the guitar solos, the sort of rap sections. They're really all over the place, and I think that's what makes this album so fun. Have you ever listened to Captain Beefheart? Can't say I have out loud. Soul album, EP, I don't know, this whole thing should have been a really fun listen. I think so too, Micah. Like, it really has just been a lot of fun, and I think it's because it's kind of like carefree and upbeat, and I don't know, it's just been really easy to get through. The opposite of Bathos. I don't know. Just with the next person that says shenanigans. Whoops. My bad. That was your favorite one, Pyro? It's got killer screams and cleans. A little softer than I anticipated, but a good mix of heavy in there for sure. Yeah, I think, especially coming from listening to the EP, I think we all thought it was going to be a little bit heavier. So I think that's one of the reasons why it might sound even softer to us right now, is because we just listened to how heavy they were on the EP, but they definitely did a good job of still mixing in some heavy parts in there, you know? Like this part. is this one? Oh, this is the last song.
Until you shut up, I want you to shut up.
He's such a good vocalist. I think I'll just recap some of my thoughts at the end of this song so that I don't have to talk over it too much.
I can't stand to hear the truth.
I kind of like the SoundCloud thing where you can sort of anticipate how the song's gonna flow.
When it comes from you. I put my hands so close to your neck and slowly regret what comes next.
So yeah, it comes out on February 23rd.
It always comes to this. First you fight and then you fight again. With broken souls, it's all enough. Say more to make it whole. With hope in our hands, we wanted more than what we get. Scream till you're dead. It won't make it better. Make it better.
This was a really good song to end it on.
We broke everything. Self-destruct is the first sign of rage. Make it go away. Make it go away. We broke everything. A sign of rage. Make it go away. We broke everything.
Especially good job with the outro being like that. Yeah, Pyro, I like the outro a lot too. Just sort of like a clean fade, and then the album's over. That was really good. Okay. So, I know we just listened to this. I'm going to try and do just a recap of my thoughts. Overall, definitely softer than the EP. They kept a lot of stuff that I liked from the EP. My only real complaint, actually, is just that it is a little softer. And, you know, I think by now everybody kind of knows I just really like heavy music, so I prefer it to be heavy, but this was really good. Like, it was as good as you could do this style, if you ask me. I've seen a lot of bands transition away from heaviness in a way that I thought was really, really bad. And these guys, I mean, they didn't even transition away from the heaviness. They did a great job of keeping some heavy sections in there. It's just that there weren't quite as many of them as before. And the only reason that that's a criticism is because this album is really good, and the clean singing is really good, and the instruments are really good. The only reason this is a criticism is because the clean singing and the instruments were really good on the EP, and the screams on the EP were really good. And I'll play a song for you guys once we finish this recap, as just like a sort of like, this is what the EP sounded like, so that after all this time you could sort of get what I'm comparing it to. The EP did a really good job of letting the cleans shine, the instruments shine, and in a way the instruments, I don't want to say that they shined more, but they were able to be heavier, so they could showcase a little bit more like of a diverse sound. And then the screams were really good. The screamer is actually incredibly talented. He has such good range and a lot of different styles that come across as like sounding differently. Compared to in this one, the screams were mostly mids, and yeah, Pyro saying the screams sounded kind of weak. No offense to the New Age. Yeah, and clearly that's how they wanted them to sound, but I know that their screamer has so much potential, so it's not like it's a real criticism. It's just obviously the direction that they're choosing to go in. So moving away from just that one criticism point, this album was a ton of fun to listen to. It was extremely easy to listen to. It has 12 songs, which is more than most bands put out these days. And yeah, it was just a piece of cake, really enjoyable to get through the whole time. Had a lot of ups and downs. I know in some of my reviews I talk about bands doing ebb and flow, and it's kind of fun on the SoundCloud because you could see like the ebb and flow of the song. And I kind of talked about that a little bit leading up to this point. So yeah, the way that they sort of like have a soft part and then some heavy parts and then like the rapping sort of verses, it really just keeps you engaged the whole time. And yeah, it was never like extremely apparent what they were gonna do next, which I think is a really critical aspect of what makes an album fun to listen to, where it draws you in and you are on the edge of your seat because you're not sure what's gonna come next. And it just it constantly surprises you, which is great, because as soon as an album becomes formulaic or is predictable, it just loses a ton of replay value to me. I want something that just has a lot of stuff going on all the time. And that's actually, I'm going to end on one of the most positive notes I think that I could say. Even though this album lacked a little bit of heaviness from the EP, they still did a really good job of filling up the album with so much stuff going on instrumentally, right? The cleans were great, you know, they were soaring, it was really solid, but instrumentally, compared to a lot of post-hardcore bands, if that's what we're going to start calling the New Age, compared to a lot of bands who go for this similar sound, they had so much more going on instrumentally. They were filling up the track just, you know, constantly. There were things going on. Actually had some guitar solos here and there, which isn't a new thing for them at all. It's something, all of those aspects are things that they've done a great job of in the past, and it's really great to see them continuing on with that. Yeah, Mike is talking about a lot of diversity in this whole thing. It really was, and that's what I think kept it from being repetitive and kept all 12 songs sounding really fresh and easy to listen to. So as sort of like an end to the stream, I'm going to play a song from the EP just so everybody who has made it this far can finally sort of get what I'm talking about when I was comparing it. And before I play it, I'm just going to say, by the time I post this, I'm sure it's going to be after February 23rd. I just want to say thanks to the New Age for giving me the chance to review it ahead of time and post it up on YouTube. This is something, I actually have a couple other bands lined up who have agreed to let me do this. So just massive thank you to the New Age for being the first one to let me do it. And really, they're the ones who like made me think of doing this in the first place, you know, reviewing something without having to worry about copyright issues or anything like that. So huge thank you to those guys. I have a couple other ones coming up in the near future. I'll just say who they are. One of them is a band called This New Crowning, or they're sort of smaller. And then another one I think is a band called Horcruxes, which is a Canadian band. Their agent just like recently emailed me, and I thought it does sound really good. So keep an eye out for those. Anyway, I'll play this song and then I'll do the official end to the stream. So, thanks for watching so far, guys. Thank you for everybody in the chat for helping hang out and contribute tonight. You know how much I appreciate you guys for spending your time here with me. So this is off the EP from 2014. This song actually came out, like you can see, it was posted in March of 2013. So these guys have been killing it for years, and they've obviously progressed, but the sound was pretty killer. So he definitely has some heavier parts. The instruments also get into a little bit of the heaviness. This was some of the really cool, clean vocal stuff that they would do. So they have always had those same sort of up and downs, where it's like the heaviness just entirely fades out and you just move into this clean stuff. And then it starts ramping up again.
Months ago I came to terms with my worst fears, so I got my nose pierced. Fuck, I've wasted 3 years. But now it seems I'm an addict, so
this is the same sort of 21 Pilots stuff.
Some months ago I came to terms with my worst fears. I got my nose pierced. Fuck, 3 years. And now it seems I'm an addict.
I don't think it sounds entirely different. You guys think it sounds like an entirely different band? They are really good at both, though. That's true, Micah. I don't think it sounds entirely different. It's just the heaviness that is different. But I think they do both styles really well. I think they do both of them really well. I would like to see a return to heaviness if they could, but I think they do the softer side really as good as it can be done, too. I think this is one of the heavier parts, too. See, like, all the guitar stuff that they're doing, too? They've just so much talent at every position. Alright. So, yeah, that's a little throwback to the EP that they had put out. Song's really diverse. The good kind of diversity. Not like Ocean's 8 Alaska all over the place. Yeah, that kind of breakdown at the end is really cool. The interesting thing about these guys is that they don't really use like traditional breakdowns. Not even on the EP when it was heavier, they didn't really have like traditional breakdowns. I totally get what you mean, Pyro, about Ocean's 8 Alaska changing like just entirely different clips every like 30 seconds. Yeah, guys, with that, I just want to say thanks. I'll restate what I said at the beginning. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm currently filming this live on Twitch. My Twitch channel is just called Pecksmetalpicks. I'm going to put the link to my Twitch chat, or to my Twitch account, in the info section below. So if you think it would be fun to listen along to albums with me live, it would be a ton of fun to have you. And you could basically just come and hang out in the chat and listen with me, share your opinions and ideas. We've been doing a lot of different stuff. So like I said, we have a couple of these coming up where I'll end up posting them on YouTube. 99% of these that I do don't end up on YouTube because I just don't want to worry about copyright stuff. So we've been doing some throwback ones, like we just reviewed Plagues by The Devil Wears Prada, did an old Greeley Estates album, and then we have tons of new stuff coming up too, like the new Plot in You album for the Fallen Dreams. You know, any reviews that you see me post anywhere on Twitter or Instagram, I do them live on Twitch. So I would love to have you guys come join us and share your thoughts and basically just join this community, because it's a ton of fun, and I really, really, really appreciate all the people who come and hang out and like do this with me live, because honestly, without these people here live, I'm not sure how often I would even do reviews anymore. But the community is great, and I just want to thank all you guys. Thank all you YouTube subscribers too, even if you don't make your way over to Twitch. But yeah, that's just my last sell on it. It's just if you want to be part of a really cool community where all of these people are friends with each other, we're all friends on Twitter and Instagram, and we love having new people. So if you want to come join something like that and listen to some new music and some throwback music and share your thoughts, yeah, man, we'd love to have you guys. So thanks for checking out this video. I'm sure it's super long by this point, but you know, I really appreciate all the time that everybody else puts into all of my reviews. So thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you guys on stream.